Is there a doctor in the house?
There is.
Nice to see you again, Doctor.
Thank you very much,
Is this your
Mr. Forsyth.
your third coming? Is it? Or
I know I've been here before. Was it a year? 2 years ago?
2 years ago you came.
I'm
Yes.
getting very forgetful, and it looks like, yes, quite still a lot of old colonists here. I hope the same number that we had whenever I was here last.
Good. Yes, I think that's about right. But how have you been going, Doctor?
Heart's not good, very weary, forgetting things. So it's nice though to visit the old days again.
Right. And where have you been in this current coming?
We're in the old Masonic Lodge. We had that refurbished in Brun Place. We're living there, Caroline and I. But I've been going through my diary again.
Yes.
And this Magic Lantern show, I've put a couple of things together.
Mm-hmm.
But I am forgetful, and I think you might be doing something about that.
Yes. What particularly have you forgotten, or what's troubling you?
I'll show you. It's Mr. Skipper when he was in the Africane offshore painting us.
Yes.
He's got camp here and camp there, and I can't really remember where the campsite was. So I'll show that image, and so I'm a little bit fuddled on the details. You know, it's 30-something years ago.
Is that all?
If that's all, but you know,
Right.
I'm
Seems
not
a lot
young.
longer. Well, if you can outline just what the problem is, we might be able to help you.
Thank you. I'll be interested to see. So Rapid Bay again, and you'll remember these are William Light's drawings. You know, we're at Yankee Point, and we've got Yankee Lily, Second Valley, Rapid Bay. So we're coming across, just come to Kangaroo Island, no water there, we can't settle, not a place for the new town to be built. So we've come across to Rapid Bay, which is already inhabited. Here's one of Mr. Angus's lovely pictures of native people living there. We're the first Europeans really to touch base here. And so it was kind of interesting. Looking at my diary, I think I was going through the encyclopedia at the time in our tents. But what's sort of puzzling me is the Mr. Skipper's drawing of all the tents out there. So I can't, you know, I thought it was somewhere different. So I'm not kind of remembering the details of it. So if there's help, I think that would be.
All right, so thank you, David. So to start off, under the Heritage Places Act 1993, it is stated that any site of importance must be reported to authorities, and nominations can be made for the site to be heritage listed. Under these guidelines, I have some supporters, and I would like to thank all of these supporters listed. There is a lot. So this is just a slide representing the process I've taken to nominate the site and the research involved in doing so. And that is the Rapid Bay site I've nominated and is publicly listed on the Heritage SA website. Heritage SA, DEW, have also analysed the artefacts, and with credit to Mark Polzer of Heritage SA, he has analysed all of them and verified the likelihood of their linkage to, in fact, Dr. Woodforde and the surveying team's campsite at Rapid Bay. To start off with, just as a preface, I'm a metal detectorist with a passion not for profit but for history and sharing that to others. History is for everyone to share, and I've worked with landowners, with councils, I've got attachment to government departments, and I like to do things thoroughly and by the book. These artefacts it's a snapshot of the artefacts found at the site. It's not all of them, but it's a good view of most of them. They're dug from the ground and they're over 200 years old, and it's pretty incredible to think about that. This is also the Rapid Brig, of which Rapid Bay is named after by William Lupp, and it was purchased by the colonisation commissioners to use as a surveying vessel and had been rigged as a snow for its voyage. So Rapid Bay on the Fleurieu Peninsula is located here on the left image, and on the right image, about there where the red dot is the site I have been researching into and metal detecting, and it's right next to the sports oval and the cricket, the sports cricket clubhouse. I would also like to, at this point, acknowledge the Indigenous at Rapid Bay before the arrival of Light's survey team. The site's original name was Patpunga, and still is today. All images on this slide pertain to known Indigenous occupation at Patpunga, including the Shubrookie Dream Track, the watercolour of from George Fife Angus of the natives, the known burial of an Indigenous member, unnamed, a clay cooking oven still to this day in the side of a hill, and that's a modern day image of that same burial up here. So whilst there's no Light appointed a survey camp to Rapid Bay, it lends the question of investigating further into the exact coordinate location of that 1836 campsite. So I have been searching up here, and the watercolour from Mr. John Michael Skipper shows the campsite up here, which is relevant to today's oval. So this is the original sketch by William Lupp. On this right one is the large view of Rapid Bay itself. Over here, we've zoomed in a bit more to show the the Yatagalinga River and the bay area itself. Zooming in again, we can see the 4 tents on the shore that Lai had asked his men to set up, a garden his men had dug, and the flagstaff on the corner of a hill, which is directly next to a proposed dam for a flour mill, since Light was thinking ahead of time and really thoroughly searching for a site to put Adelaide on, and he was under a lot of pressure, and he had in fact considered Rapid Bay as a location for Adelaide. So this is the cave at Rapid Bay. And this here is the shoreline in Light's original sketchbook he made at Rapid Bay when they landed. This is a bit of a better image of the sketchbook. It's a lithograph, so reproduced from Light's sketchbook. That's the same cave over here This is some men with some boats that came from the Rapid Brig on the shore. And this, little bit hard to see, but this lady here is a rare glimpse of Mariah Gandhi Light's so-called mistress. So at this point, I had, in my research, I had found a council and districts map of land ownership in the area. So this here is the main road leading to Rapid Bay. It goes down towards the jetty further out to the left, and that's the current Rapid Bay campgrounds out here. That white rectangle is my search site, which is right across two of the Yankalilla Council land parcels. So I took that same map, put it underneath, and put a light sketch over the top and tried to align it to where I think the water line is, which is this part here, which would run about along here. And these little green dots underneath is about where the Flagstaff on Light's map is, which lines up where all my discoveries are on today's map. So this is William Light's, up here, William Light's diary entry asking his men to put the tents on shore. And this is a bit of a better view of that same map from before. With all my discoveries by these green dots, every green dot is one artifact. So there's quite a lot in one area, as you can see, and it's right on the edge next to the tennis courts. I had searched around the base of the hill. I'd searched around the base of the hill over here, around the oval. No other artifacts were found around in any area, and all artifacts found in this location, all at the same soil depth and soil, we'll say type. It's all at about 4 inches below the surface. So the reason I've got this here, I would like to rule out any discourse about this site being a whaling station at Rapid Bay, since there's the known records of whaling stations represented by this Wikipedia list here. The closest one, the closest two, there's one at Encounter Bay and there's one at Rosetta Head out this way. But there's no records, no historical records proving whaling station at Rapid Bay itself. I have a slide here to display why I think the garden is accurately positioned in Light's sketch, as the garden is, in that time they would have put the garden next to where they set themselves up for long-term staying or even temporary staying. You wouldn't want to walk 5 kilometres to go and get some potatoes or peas and carrots. So even though some sources have named this site as the garden at Rapid Bay, as the art gallery have said, I believe it's Rapid Valley, and Rapid Valley watercolour would have been done somewhere out this way, and this is a road view into that location. This is also potentially Dr. Woodforde himself over here, and some natives in the background. One of the important finds at the site is a Georgian Royal Navy button. It would have come from a uniform pocket of some sort, some uniform similar to this, and it's between the date of 1805 to 1825, so uniform made before they came out to South Australia. Similar to the last one, this is a treble, Georgian period treble gilt button. So both buttons were gold gilt, or are gold gilt. And this is the same size as the previous button. This is an online example. That's the button I found. And it's quite important because it could have come from the same uniform. So suggested uniforms, potentially something similar to either of these two. These are just some online examples of the previous button, the one I'd found at the site. So these buttons would have come from a uniform that belonged to potentially William John Samuel Pullen, since Light had left the Royal Navy before being appointed surveyor, and he was no longer in Royal Navy, so it wouldn't be relevant to his status in the crew. So it could have belonged to Mr. Pullen, who was Royal Navy at the period, or William George Field, who was also Royal Navy at the time. Both men are known to be to have been at the Rapid Base site. And later on, Mr. Field established a home near Yankalilla known as Hillside, and it's later on burnt down, unfortunately, and these are some ruins from 1981. They still stand as those ruins to this day. I found a George III halfpenny dated 1807. It's also important because it showcases like British currency that natives would not have used, and these coins were generally given as payment before leaving Britain, or like goodbye tokens from loved ones or friends, and this would have been floating around in someone's pocket. This is also a little bit of a clearer image, just trying to bring out the details a little bit more. And this is the penny, the halfpenny that was dug out of the ground at that very site.
Now along come two metal detectorists, Jay to my left and myself. My name's Brun. We would like to help Dr. Woodforde a little bit more. So we decided to go metal detecting and we found some coins.
Could be mine.
Could be, could be.
We were near there.
You were. And we did some, thank you, Dr. Woodforde. We did some research and we know that a survey party had come to this location and camped by the Yankalilla River. Oh, there we go. The coin site is just here. I'll just a little bit further up from that coin site. Here is the Yankalilla River that they would have camped in and around that vicinity. So quite within walking distance, as you can see. Now we attended this coin site specifically on a day after there were 4 days last September of torrential rain, heavy storms, lots of high waves, stripping the ocean sand away from the shore, taking away a lot of white sand, top surface sand, and also down in that area in Lady Bay, there is usually mounds, very high mounds of seaweed. Now, the storms were for 4 days long, really took away a huge amount of debris from the seaweed, and we saw some blackened sand, very dark patch of blackened sand. Now, we decided to take our metal detectors down, have a bit of a swing, as we call it. We are relic hunters. We swing away and try and listen for tones. We were really quite happy doing it, and we found these. Now, the first one is a George III shilling, 1819. It was about 40 centimetres down in the dark blackish patch of sand. Any metal detectorist knows that blackish sand means that the top layer of regular beach sand that we all walk on has been removed by the storm. So these shillings were really deep. They would never have been able to be picked up by a detecting machine had that storm not occurred. So this George III shilling dated 1819, was it lost by Dr. Woodforde or one of the people in the survey party? That is a question yet to learn. Very old silver, 0.925 silver, in fact. And the second coin we found, not very far, very, very close to the first 1819 coin, is this William IV shilling dated 1836. Now that is the year that the Rapid came to Australia in 1836, and they did arrive in September. So perhaps this was part of Dr. Woodforde's paycheck before he left. Maybe he got a new coin to set sail on the journey. They used silver for trading quite a lot. They were a versatile coin. They didn't rust like the pennies, hence its longevity, and it's in still pretty good condition. You can see just down the bottom there, oops, my apologies, pointer. You can see just down the bottom there, 1836. So we were really happy. We were actually overjoyed, weren't we, Jay?
Was, yeah, very much.
Jay actually dug the coins. Jay dug the coins out, and we very, very happy. And in our minds straight away, we thought to ourselves, isn't it wonderful that the ocean can open a window to the 1800s? And we certainly did think about Woodforde and the survey party and Colonel Light and the history. It just took us right back to the 1800s, and we're so grateful to have found these, which you can have a look at later. So there we have it.
Thank you, Ms. Brun. It's quite amazing. This was our campsite. This was the coin site. We used to go for smoke the pipe, after dinner go for a walk north to where Mr. Norman has put his little village, and south along the cliffs. Sorry, magic lantern problems again. So William's watercolour of the campsite near on the Yankee River where we were camped for a couple of days, and the location just round the corner of where the site was found. We were, as you can expect, coming out, getting on board the Rapid to come out here. We were stocked up with coins because we were going to a new town with nothing. We're going to make the new town. So I do remember getting some modern coins in with it as well.
This button here, currently unsure where it, like what kind of item it came from. It's very small and nothing to identify it with. But suggestions do include things like a medical storage bag, like a button from a strap to store medicinal bottles, possibly Dr. Woodforde's, or an 1830s sailor's ditty bag, so personal items, things like that, small bits and pieces for travel. A small brass buckle was found. It's double framed, square, very thin brass, quite unidentifiable because there's no marks on it. It could be from anything at all, really. However, there's slight curvature and it's thin but elegant, which suggests it's possibly from a lady's garter. Now, it's a bit funny. Wouldn't expect to be finding some personal clothing item pieces. However, there were two known women at the site, Mariah Gandy, so Light's rumoured mistress, and Anne Frances Finnis, Mr. Finnis's wife. Miss Finnis, Anne Finnis, she bore a child, the first white female born on SA mainland. Her name was Fanny Lipson Finnis, and it's possible that this buckle may be from Mariah Gandy or Miss Finnis's undergarments while they stayed at the site. I also found a brass pulley, which it's confirmed by two separate clock repairers that it would have been used for the weight. It would have had some string or brass wire that held the weight, and as the wheel of the pulley rotated and pulled the weight up, it turned the hands of the clock on the face dial, which is a bit strange to find at that site. Why is there a piece of clock there?
coming out to this new colony, I knew I'd eventually have somewhat civilized place to live in. So I was bringing, my candle snuffer and a nice carafe, and brought a nice clock with me that my father gave me in Bath. And I was rummaging down in the hold when we got here to see how these items survived the trip. And the clock was rattling and opening up. I didn't do much, but opening it up, and it didn't look quite right and could easily have fallen out. I didn't get it functioning until a respectable clock repairer came out to the colony for a couple of years. It's working fine now. So it's quite possible that was from this clock.
Which is quite amazing if I have a piece of your clock, Mr. Woodforde. Very unique. So additionally, more finds. A small rounded piece of a harmonica reed possibly. There's this hole here in this online example which seems to match this hole here, and it seems that this part would have been nailed into the wooden harmonica body. So it's not confirmed yet, but suspected to be from a harmonica. This part is the most important part as well. So this find was suspected to be a salt shaker top used for fresh meats when they were cooking it on, I guess, their version of a barbecue, the campfire at the campsite. But the holes of this are a bit big for holding salt granules, and considering they had cured meats on the brick, it would be a bit odd to bring some more salt with you. So this is more likely to be a pounce pot top. Now, pounce pot was used for ink blotting, soaking up excess ink, or preparing their parchment, making it a bit rougher for the ink to soak into the paper. Which, this being a brass pounce pot like lid, is incredibly important because it may have been used, or is likely to have been used, to write this letter that William Light himself wrote in 1836 at Rapid Bay, and this letter was sealed and later sent to London, an official letter. This may well be from William Light, Dr. Woodforde, anyone of importance from that campsite. That's a pretty big deal to have someone's personal item for writing something that established Adelaide's history back in Britain. That is a pretty big find.
Thank you. At this time, so in October, William had his drafting box with all his materials, and he was spending the morning drafting the coastal chart and associated pictures. In the afternoons, we used to go, when he was tired from that, we'd go shooting or fishing along the coastline. So in that vein, you might remember last year or the year before when I was here that we were talking about parrot pies, which were quite favourites of myself and the crew. So 31st of October at Rapid Bay, I was up to my eyes in flour making a pudding with birds shot by Claughton and myself. It's my first attempt, intended for tomorrow's dinner, proof of the pudding, etc. 14th of September, again the same thing, weather beautiful. Field and I started after breakfast, and that's probably me, with our guns, and penetrated nearly 3 miles. So we were regularly shooting. So we were regularly losing up our lead shot. So we had lead sheet on board the Rapid, and we were tearing pieces off this and occasionally melting the lead and making ourselves new shot as we used it up.
So in relation to Dr. Woodforde casting musket balls and using them, we've got some recovered musket balls from Rapid Bay. So here are some smaller balls are birdshot. They would be considered birdshot because of how small they are, used for smaller animals. And these are just a zoomed in image of a larger musket ball being here. And that's evidence of this hunting occurring. Some firearms to match these musket balls, just online examples, but factual to the period. So this is a flintlock pistol between 1800 to 1830, an example of one they might have had. Brunswick rifle, 1800 to 1830, another example of a firearm they might have had. The flintlock would be for the smaller musket balls, for the birdshot. This one would have been for the larger ammunitions, the larger musket balls. And some evidence of casting. This is lead sprue, which comes from the casting process. So when you pour the lead into the mould, sometimes you have excess lead that you cut off. Most of the time, this lead actually comes from, you can see a cut here and a cut here. It comes from when you take the musket ball out of the mould, they would, say, scrape the lead off and then smooth down that top on the musket ball. That would leave a small flat spot on the musket ball, but not enough for it to affect the firing of that ammunition. And this would be left over in the ground or remelted again. I've titled these as lead lumps because they're all sporadic shapes and sizes. But bits like this, for example, this is a large splatter, like this online example. This is a larger piece that's been cut. This would have been excess lead through the refining process. None of this lead was good enough for the musket balls. Leftover pieces that never made it into the refining process, or impurities in that lead that they scraped off while it was being boiled and basically threw out, left on the ground. Also got some bones recovered at the site. Now, these have been confirmed to be animal, not human. There's 3 very small, almost rib cage bones, and there was a flat impacted musket ball in the same hole as those bones. So something was hit by that musket ball.
Thank you. And the location is perfect. You know, from my diary, 17th November, this morning being quite hot, being able to, we went out shooting. I succeeded in killing some 3 brace. This is for more pudding. And I've just shot a native dog that I've been watching for several nights. This dog was doing depredations on it. We had some poultry, but a young cygnet was killed, and it was a pet belonging to Captain Light. So I shot one of them, and we were spending time to try to shoot the other one. So the poultry was being killed. The Light's pet was killed, but I got the dog. So on 17th of November.
So in closing, to summarise where Mr. Woodforde's camp would have been located, this discovery of artefacts at Rapid Bay now identifies for the first time the precise position of the occupation site of the SA Colonisation Commissioner's first expedition, they called it. So all these finds is pretty amazing. They were stumbled upon. I was out there all the way back in 2019 on a camping trip and accidentally found these things, which led me on a 7-year-long and still going journey of research and working with the correct organisations, working with other detectorists such as Brun and Jay, and a whole bunch of individuals and organisations, and it's a huge, huge project. And I think this is really important to Adelaide's history. And you know, it helps Mr. Woodforde himself remember where all this was located. So I would like to thank you all for coming to our presentation, and I hope this was educational as well.